Hi guys, this is a late night video, so I'll just speak a bit quietly. Okay, now two things I'm going to talk about here. Uh, well, one thing finally, PlayStation 5 India launch. For those of you who don't know, 12th January, 12 p.m. pre-orders will start, and 2nd February officially, uh, it, it will launch. So you will get it on or after 2nd February. Okay, so that was really the PlayStation 5 news. Yeah, in all your retail stores and online retailers also in India, like always. Um, a word of advice based on what happened in the US when like um, the pre-orders will begin um, on 12th January 12 p.m. in the afternoon. Do not wait till the last moment. 11:30 a.m. around, you sit there. You sit in front of your computer ready to hit refresh like anytime because it can come anytime and the stock can get over like anyhow. Okay, so make sure you secure your copy. If you want, you can open multiple sites on your computer. One for Amazon, one for Flipkart, whatever you prefer. Because from what I hear, we will get limited stocks. Basically, what just like what happened in the US. Okay, that was PlayStation 5. Now, Spider Man 3. Yes, actually, sorry, I forgot. For those of you who don't know, which will not be the case, PlayStation 5 Digital Edition will be starting at 39,990 rupees, and the disc edition will start at 49,990 rupees. That's it. Yeah, really, that's it. So now Spider-Man 3. So based on what I've read, Uh, well, obviously, people were very disappointed because we did not get a first look in December, which was promised. But okay, fine. Um, we have two more things to look forward to. First thing is the Morbius movie, which will release on 19th March. Yes, 19th March. It is like here, and we haven't got anything beyond a teaser. So uh, So from what I'm expecting, we'll get a hint of Venom 2, or at least at least a Spider Verse tease for Spider Man 3 in the post credit scene for Morbius. Actually, I actually I wouldn't expect that to happen. Spid- the Spider Verse won't be teased so soon. I think the post credit scene for Morbius will will carry a first look at Carnage, the villain for Venom 2, and the Venom 2 post credit scene could hint at Spider Verse somehow. Um, but anyhow, that's just my guess. All we know that Spider Man 3 is releasing on December 17th, 2021. Cannot wait, literally. Now, from what I've been reading, um, uh, s- Spider-Man 3 will be changing shooting locations. Will be changing the location of the shoot from Atlanta to like somewhere else. So we could get leaked on-set images, which would help us to make make a few lucky guesses as to what we could expect from the movie. This movie is supposed to show or at least hint at a Spider Verse. Though I wouldn't, though I really wouldn't get my hopes that much high. Um, from what we know, from what the evidence suggests, which is actually multiple reports, that the other two Spider-Men, namely Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, will only be present in the third act of the movie. The first two acts will be solely Tom Holland. So, which is not bad because it is a Tom Holland movie after all. He should get more footage. And well, from what this deal is like, well, at least Tobey Maguire will appear in the Doctor Strange movie also, the next Doctor Strange movie, which is not a surprise really because the director for that Doctor Strange movie was the director for the Tobey Maguire movies, Sam Raimi. The name is Sam Raimi. So I could see that as a possibility. Now, one thing is for sure that uh, the deal that exists or the deal that could be, I think Andrew Garfield will. I think the deal with Andrew Garfield will only be a one movie thing. They will want to get rid of him quite fast because well, involving Andrew Garfield in a Spider Verse thing is only like fan service. Andrew Garfield is not necessarily required later. His Spider Man is not necessarily required, provided they are keeping Tobey Maguire Spider Man for a few more movies, because if they want to if they want to show someone some Spider-Man to be a mentor of the Tom Holland Spider-Man, he only needs one, right? He does not need two mentors, like really. Um, and yes, I think Andrew Garfield will be a one-time thing, but Tobey Maguire will be here to stay, uh, at least for a couple more movies, not more than that, really. Uh, Also, like, and see, honestly, I think that this idea is a bit far-fetched. I wouldn't be surprised if this doesn't happen at all. Really, I mean, from what I hear, Maguire is asking for a shitload of money. From what I hear, I wouldn't even call them my sources. I have been reading that on the net, so do not copyright strike my channel. I'm not saying anything. I just read it. That Toby Maguire is asking for a lot of money. Well, I wouldn't blame him. Like, Sony needs him more than he needs Sony at this point. He does not need to be Spider-Man. We need him to be Spider-Man. Not we, I mean Sony. So if this happens, if it could be exciting, it would be the biggest crossover event in the history of superhero movies. Really, it would. And for further reports, um, Venom and Morbius are also expected to have an appearance in the movie. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, considering their solo movies are releasing this year too. But if it doesn't happen, I'll be like, okay, it's too soon, anyways. I mean, both of them have had. I mean, Morbius was just introduced, and Venom has had two solo movies, so not much appearance has happened in their solo outings. So I would do like take some time, let Tom Holland Spider Man grow up a bit. He looks like quite uh, you know he looks quite teeny, and I'm not saying tiny. Teeny means like too much of a teenager. I think it's too early for him to face someone like Venom right now. Let him grow up a bit. Let that Peter Parker grow up a bit, become a bit mature, and please, for God's sake, get him out of the Tony Stark shadow. I like everything about the Tom Holland Spider Man except that thing. I mean, really, see, it see it's cool for a certain period of time to see him wear suits made by Tony Stark, those multi-million dollar suits and all that. But after a while, it starts to sound like the guy the makers are not being honest with the character. The real Spider-Man would not accept backup from like anybody. I think Peter Parker is supposed to be, I wouldn't say too proud for that, but the better word would be he prefers to be solo. I mean, you have seen in the Ultimate Spider Man cartoon, Nick Fury asks him to be a part of a team. He's like, no, earlier, no. He does not prefer to have shield backup, but later he like gives in, which is fine and all that. So that's not the point. But see, Spider-Man makes his own suits. That should have happened. And see, if anybody wants to argue, but he made the Far From Home suit. He used Tony Stark's tech to build that suit, so that one doesn't count. By making a Spider-Man suit, I mean stitching it, not 3D printing it on some mannequin like figure. That is the only thing I don't like about the MCU Spider-Man. Other things I'm really fine with. The villains are good. Um, what? Yeah, the villains are good. The side cast is good. Tom Holland by himself is very good. One thing I would like to make clear. This is my stand, really personal stand. Nothing against anyone. uh, Many people seem to blame Tom Holland the actor for how his Spider-Man turned out to be, constant backing by Tony Stark, Tony Stark taking the place of Uncle Ben and all that, as the mentor, the guy, and Peter not making his own suits anymore. Do not blame the guy. I don't think Tom Holland has a say in any of this. He's just an actor, not even a producer. And from what I can tell, he's pretty good as Spider-Man. I I really don't like people just spreading hate on him. He is not at fault. He is doing pretty good as Spider-Man. The It is just the writing and just the foundation of his story, of this Spider-Man story here. This flaw was not there in the earlier two Spider-Man. So, just make him independent and all will be fine. If Sony ever sees this, which they won't for, because I am not that big a channel yet. But anyhow, I'll just say it. Just make him independent. Make him grow up a little bit and keep him in New York for Christ's sakes. He is the superhero of New York. Keep him in New York. Nowhere in London. Nowhere in what Europe. Nowhere in Asia. Nowhere. Keep him in New York and all will be fine. That's it. You know, I just wanted to say this for a lot of time, and finally I did. I just couldn't keep it in. So so like the that's all, guys. I gave you the exciting news. I gave you about PlayStation 5, about Spider-Man 3, and also my overall thoughts on what people say about the character. Why people blame the actor? Don't blame the actor. It's not his fault that the character turned out to be like this. He was just acting. He was just doing his part, and from what the critics say, he did his part fine. Yeah, he did his part fine. So that's it. That's it. That's all I have to say. Either way, I'm really excited for these three movies which are releasing, and I'll also be keeping track of whatever happens in WandaVision, because the events of that series are supposed to tie into Spider-Man 3. So hopefully we'll get a hint somewhat of whatever is happening in that of whatever will happen in Spider-Man 3 from WandaVision. So yeah, 15 January, guys. Uh, Disney Plus Hotstar in India and Indonesia, Disney Plus in other countries. So have a great time. Good night.